EMS. Yes, Senator Lacson, go ahead.
Yes, very quickly, since I thought I heard Secretary Galvez mention C-130 flights. Ito yung merong goodwill flight through Xiamen Airways to deliver the second batch of the items procured from China. Nagamit po ba rito yung ating C-130?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, during those times that we have met with the IATF, with the directive of the President that we have to produce all the PPEs. That was at the time of April 2. And the first sortie that we had is April 6 with 12,000, because one C-130 is 12,000 PPE. And then
our own C-130. This is the Philippine Air Force C-130.
We have three flights of C-130, 6 flights of PAC, and 12 flights of Cebu Pacific, with a total of 288,000 PPE. And it was delivered to the different. I have the record, Your Honor. I can submit it.
So from China, lumipad yung C-130 ng Philippine Air Force to ferry ito mga PPEs. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We have 3 destinations in Xiamen and Changsha. I'll get the other one, sir. We have
question.
Yes, sir.
Question. Was the Philippine Air Force compensated? Kasi this is part of logistics ito eh.
Malinaw ba? Malinaw?
This is part of the responsibility of the supplier, di ba?
Sir, no, sir. Actually, during the first contract, I believe, the arrangement is not CIF, meaning CIF, meaning the turnover of the supply will be at the different ports of the Philippines. The arrangement is considering that we have a lockdown then, sir. They don't have any flights, because the different ports of the Philippines have been shut down because we have a total lockdown then. So
I'd like to shift to Mr. Ferrer. Were you given the same accommodation by the Philippine Air Force to transport yung mga raw materials nyo para sa mga PPEs? Mr. Ferrer?
Good morning, Senator. We imported our raw materials ourselves and cleared it through the BOC. And we also deliver our finished product ourselves to the designated delivery points given to us.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that's exactly my point. Bakit ang accommodation sa foreign firm parang higit pa kaysa sa accommodation sa sarili nating kababayan, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. President, can I interject? Sir, Your Honor, during those times, we don't have supply. Even the private sectors doesn't have the PPE that time. That was April 4. I think the delivery of MS started on August. We don't have any supply then. We don't have PPEs. We don't have surgical masks. Nothing, sir, nothing. And we need to be.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Ferrer, di po ba nagsimula kayo mag-ship ng mga raw materials niyo mga April?
Senator, we started, we had inventory. We started to ship June 1st. We had inventory
June 1st.
End of May. Yes, end of May.
Yeah. Pero may mga dumating, dito kasi may mga code, and I'd like Bureau of Customs to confirm this, ano? Kasi tatlo yung pinagbabagsakan eh. Isang MOP, POM, yung isa MICP, yung isa NAIA. Sa NAIA, which is coded PO3, marami pong shipments ito ha. June 3, June 3, June 3, June 3, June 4, and so forth and so on. So, I'm just wondering why we cannot accommodate a Filipino entrepreneur who's willing to help because of the pandemic. Tapos hindi natin nabigyan ng ganong accommodation na binigyan natin sa Parmali. I'm just wondering, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all.
I principally agree, but let me just say something, Senator Lacson, on behalf of the IATF and our Air Force. Our men in uniform have done a fantastic job, and I've been profuse, including the Coast Guard, profuse in letting you all folks that they help. For example, nung inassign kami ng IATF na mag-test, we had the occasion to, with the help of Secretary Lorenzana, na madala yung mga test kits at saka yung mga equipment by Philippine Air Force. But we also chartered our own flights. We chartered Philippine Airlines, we chartered Cebu Pacific, and mercifully enough, we were able to do so. We got 2 flights, I think, from the Air Force. Nakakalungkot nga yung isang C-130 bumaksak doon sa Sulu. And that's why talagang nakakaraing dahil mga men and women of the armed forces and men and women in the government, karamihan, katulad nga nung DTI, pinipilit ng mga kababayan natin mag-produce. Pagdating na sa implementation, wala talagang suporta. Sinubo nila yung mga katulad ng EMS na mag-supply tapos hindi na bayaran ng husto yung dapat bayaran. Nakakalungkot lang po. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, hindi ko po ilalagay sa spot ang ating armed forces. Ang tinatanong ko lang, bakit iba yung accommodation sa formally compared to sa ating kababayan? Hindi ko po sinisisi yung armed forces because once they are instructed, yeah, I acknowledge the heroism of our armed forces personnel. There's no doubt about it. Ang tinatanong ko lang, yung bakit iba yung treatment sa formally kaysa doon sa kababayan natin? Hindi po kasama.
Will you say, Senator Lacson, you have information that formally used the C-130?
I think they don't think so. Di po nila ginamit po sa ng ang C-130.
Can you let Senator Lacson answer because Senator Lacson usually has very good sources. Senator Lacson?
Yeah, we have that information. Now that Secretary Galvez is denying it, then so be it, Mr. Chairman. But we have our own sources.
Yes.
Sir, can I answer? The initial,
Secretary Galvez, I will recognize you later. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Secretary Galvez.
Sir, I would like to put a proper context on the deliveries of the PPEs. First, the initial delivery of the PPEs. I don't know if I'm not aware who is contracting because that's the DBM. My mission is to produce the PPE and deliver it to all the hospitals. During the time that the president gave the order on April 2, we immediately get the available PPE in China, and those PPE I believe is different procurement, not formally. But when formally get the contract, all the PPEs had been delivered CIF, meaning CIF, to the shores of the Philippines. Mm-hmm. In the Philippine port in Naiya, and also in the Pier 13 in the Manila port. Meron din sa Cagayan de Oro, meron din po sa Cebu port, at meron po din po sa Davao port. And I believe ang ginamit lang po natin sa C-130 is kailangan po natin ng PPE. So yung mga tinatawag natin na mga extra na available na nahandun sa China, kinukuha po natin po yun para at least magamit po natin kaagad. Because there is an urgency for that. But we never intend to provide any contractor the special treatment. Ang intention po namin is to get all the available supplies and get it immediately here and distribute it immediately. That's the context po namin, Mr. Chairman.
I can attest to that the IATF has done a good job. And you're not under the carpet here, Secretary Galvez. We're just following kung na-deliver lahat yung formally, yung sinasabi nila, at nadala ba yan sa mga probinsya. And you said about how many hospitals, sir? 671 ba? 571 hospitals? Sir? Secretary Galvez?
Sir, the total of the hospitals that we have is 669.
Yes, sir. Yun deliver po kayo. Dineliver nyo doon sa kung saan yung mga hospital.
Yes. Actually, sir, as of May 13, we have delivered 603,500 to different 699 hospitals, including the different regions for Luzon. We have 389 hospitals.
Yeah.
For Visayas, we have 85 hospitals. And then for Mindanao, we have 225 hospitals. And on May 31, we delivered 779,100. And on July 20, the PPE that we have delivered to the different hospitals is now 2,201,530. And then on August 25, we were able to deliver 3,829,962 PPEs to the different 699 hospitals nationwide. It includes national offices, regional offices, also to LGUs, and government hospitals, and also private hospitals.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Senator Marcos.
Yes, following up on Senator Lacson's interpellation as well as the responses of Secretary Galvez, may I know if, in addition to the flights, basically commandeering the C-130s of our armed forces, were there also Navy ships utilized, to your knowledge?
Yes, Madam. We utilize Navy because the C-130 only carries 12,000. Napakahirap po yun at kailangan po namin yung ano po. So nung May 1, we dispatched our BRP Bacolod or yung LS-550 to China.
Yes, I understand it left on the 21st of April under Commander Rogelio B. La Chica. One of our lead logistic supports vessels in the Philippine Navy was also used to pick up from Xiamen and deliver to Sasa Port. Is that correct? On
Yes, the date is May 1, Madam, to make it correct.
Was the delivery or the departure for Xiamen?
Departure for Xiamen because it's 9 days. The delivery arrived at May 9, Madam.
I understand that there were several of these voyages in April and in May. If our chairman will allow, perhaps we can derive the sale plans of all these vessels, their manifests, their radio logs, so that we're in complete awareness of actually what went on. Marami po bang mga lakbayang mga yan? Ilan ba ang ginamit maliban sa BRP Bacolod?
Ilan po BRP Bacolod, Madam? We use C-130 43 sorties po, Madam. We can give the details po, and including...
BRP Bacolod went to Xiamen how many times? And was it always to Sasa Port in Davao?
Only one time po, Madam, because we need the deliveries in Mindanao that time. So we delivered 200,000 PPEs through BRP Bacolod, LS-550, Madam.
Thank you very much. If we could have some detailed information so that we can put all the deliveries together. Thank you, po.
Mr. Chair, very quickly, with the permission of the Chair, to Secretary Galvez. Earlier, you mentioned that you were not familiar with the nature of the first items that were picked up because that was DBNPS. Is that right? If you're not aware now, can you find out as chief implementer? But first, can you answer that question? You said the PPEs that were delivered or were picked up by the C-130s was not the Armali, but you're not aware of what it was. Is that right?
I think it is a different contractor. I think this is Chansen. Isang company po dito na po. I believe...
yes, so in other words, it's not Farmally, but it's another company using the C-130 of the armed forces.
Yes, actually, sir, ganun po sir ginagawa po sir natin, na ganun din po ang ginagawa natin sa vaccine, na we are using...
Kung ibang kumpanya yon, ang tanong kanina ni Senator Lacson, binayaran ba yon ng Chansen?
That's in our expense, considering the contract is not CIF. Meaning, if you say CIF, it will be delivered to the Philippines.
So who entered into that contract?
PSDBM, sir.
So in other words, PSDBM entered into this contract with Chansen and agreed that we will use government C-130 planes as we pay you. Parang ganun na lumalabas, di ba? Sige, bibili kami sa inyo, pero isasama na namin yung C-130 para kami na ang pipick up.
Sir, the situation then is we don't have some sort of logistics means for the company to deliver it to here in the Philippines.
Well, whatever the reason is, the point is, DBMPS entered into a contract with a private company and agreed that that private company can use AFP, Philippine, di ba? Armed Forces airplanes, air cargo, and it's to our expense.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, just one administrative matter. In the previous hearing, we asked for materials, reports on the quality inspection because earlier Mr. Ferrer was saying DBMPS went to their entity, to their offices, their warehouses, and conducted the inspections. We requested for these inspection reports because we had reports, and I think one of the colleagues of Mr. Ferrer, Mr. Carillo or Ms. Carillo, said publicly in a public statement that they receive information of Chinese-made PPEs that were of poor quality. So we'd like to know, are those poor quality Chinese-made equipment the poor quality, the PPEs that were purchased or not? We don't know. And that's why we want the specifications or the technical reports on the quality